Hello.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Baruch Hashem. Hold on a second here. Let's go on the road. Okay. Very quick. Okay, so sharing. Okay. Which sim do you have us up to? Are we up to base? No, up to
Gimel.
Okay.
You said it was a hard one.
I did.
Yes.
Okay. Azavnu et politica olamit. We left the world politics. Miona sheyesh bo ratzon pnimi. Out of a compelling, being compelled, not necessarily with their own free will, but there's an inner will as well. In other words, superficially we're compelled, but we'd much rather not have been involved. Until a happier time would come. When you could conduct a government without wickedness or barbarism. That's the time which we are yearning for. It's obvious. In order to fulfill this, so rare, because we have to arouse ourselves with all of our koiches. To use all the means which the time brings to us to employ. Because everything, the hand of God who created all the worlds, is administering, is being provided by Hashem for that purpose. But that we tarry is also something which we're compelled to do. Our souls are revolted by the terrible sins of conducting a government at a bad time. Okay, which is throughout the course of most of history. The time has come, very close. The world become fragrant. The honor will become more I'm not sure what the synonym here would be, but enhanced. So let's start preparing ourselves to be back in world politics. Because then we're already getting to a place where we can conduct our government on the foundations of good, of wisdom, hayosher, honesty, and clear divine illumination. Okay, Rav Kook was very optimistic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He had high hopes.
Yes. Yaakov shalach le'esav es ha-porphyria. Yaakov sent, the porphyria is kind of like the royal robes. Yaakov sent to Esav the governance for his time. Well, you take the precedence throughout the years and on the stage of world history. Am Yisrael played a relatively minor role, at least since the time of the Churban, but even during the time that the Beis Hamikdash existed, a lot of time Am Yisrael was not in a major role in history, which really, assessor of Kook is again compelled because Yaakov was afraid of Esav, deliberate because Yaakov didn't have what to do with Esav. There's this compelling necessity, which is something which is gratifying to us based on the amount of effort and toil and frustration which will go into trying to change things. Yaakov is not. It's not worthwhile for Yaakov to involve himself in war. In governance. Basically, damim one has to be full of blood. When it requires, look at that, a talent which is fringed with wickedness. In other words, Rav Kook is assuming that there's some sort of an essential wickedness which has to take place in governance in the time of Golus. And therefore, Am Yisrael rejected this kind of governance. We've only received that or accepted that fundamental basis of governance as is necessary in order to found a nation. And when it's interesting language, I'm not even sure to translate that. Since the Gaza, the trunk of the tree, has been became matured, became weaned, got to a certain stage in history, we're cast aside from governing. According to this Messiah was cast rather than Jews, and he's rounded in my Adama. We're planted in the depth of the earth. At a share until the time of the pruning has come. The call to Israel, I would say, and the voice of Tzurul Dove will be heard in our land. As a very powerful point, you see, Rav Kook is saying basically, Golus was positive for its time. For 1900 years, we had no business being independent and politically oriented. And I think Rav Kook was, Lashita, obviously, that things are evolving and getting more and more positive all the time. So Am Yisrael can come to a situation where we can set up our governance, L'sakin olam malchut shakai, to fix the world without having to use the tactics, which are imperative at a time when there's still Risha and barbarian out there in the world. So and he's saying, it's good that we're scattered among the going. Good that we're planted in the depths in order to sprout up at the proper time when Kol HaTorah Shema B'Artzeinu, right? So we're given governance for a certain amount of time until the trunk took root, and then we were pushed aside until such time as appropriate for us to come back. So again, this is an amazing statement of Kook about how Golus was the right place at the right time. But now, in this optimistic bent of mind, Rav Kook is saying, well, now is the time for us to get back on the political stage and deal with the world in a way which is uniquely suited for us, which took all this time to get here. It's a beautiful idea.
Yes, yes. It's very altruistic and hopeful, and all the things that you want in politics,
Right.
But politics is a very dirty business.
Right. And again, if Rav Kook had survived the Holocaust, I don't know what he would have written about this. What would he say?
Yeah.
It's an enigma. Okay.
What year did he die? Do you know?
35.
35. So he was quite a bit before.
Yes. In his time, Hitler was probably just seen as a nuisance. And not, okay, so perhaps someday we'll reach this age, but not now. It's Lule Cheta Ego. If not for the Cheta Ego, you must Yoshvos Eretz Samashlimos Yisrael Models Lahem. We would have been in a wonderful situation where we've been able to, it's interesting, he says, not for the Cheta Ego. Then the nations of Eretz Canaan would have made peace with us and concede our point of supremacy. Yishem Hashem Nikra Aleim. The name of God would be bestowed upon us. The Amar Bareno hear us almost that they be afraid of our loftiness. There would never be any war. Well, it's an amazing statement. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in Chazal. That the fact that we needed to go through the conquest of the Shiva Amim and the whole glorification of war, which took place at that point was essentially because of the Chet Egel. The Chet Egel took off the Uras Aromamus. Although it says, if you read the Haftorah, for Parshas Bereshis, I think it is, where that it says that everybody's afraid of the Jews, right? It's not Bereshis. Where is it? With Rachav. Parshas Shlach. It says everybody was afraid. Didn't seem to do any good anyway. But anyway, I guess that was not the right type of Uras Aromamus, just Uras, the year of the fear of the Koyach of Amisel. But then we know Milchamah. The Hashbois Olechas B'darkei Sholem Kimotz HaMashiach. And we're influenced even the Shiva Amim in their wickedness. It's like in peaceful ways, like it'll be the time of Mashiach. But our sin deprived us of that unique height and it impeded the whole thing for thousands of years. All of the Mesibos, I think he means here, all the Sovev. Not the
devolution, the way it devolves.
Okay. The devolutions, I'm not sure is that word either, but that's a little. So the Hinamachuzozu, they're linked to each other. Levius or Hashem Bolam. B'chet Egel Yimach Lagamri. And then eventually the Chet will be eradicated, eliminated. So this the utopian time, then everybody's going to see how we are a divine nation. Yes, this is extremely, extremely optimistic. And therefore, the world will be fixed in a peaceful manner and with feelings of love. And the pleasantness of God will be felt in every heart. To give pleasure to the spirit, and refine the soul. I guess in all of them will live the soul of all living, which means everybody is going to be connected with through Am Yisrael to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, through the Yirasur towards us to Hashem, and everything will be able to be conducted, of course, in the optimal manner. Of course, the Gimel very closely follows Dalet and is a similar concept and is similarly utopian. So, hey, the short one. Hakvisha Mosaris shall pi atabusa chulonis, the ethical conquest based on the secular civilization. Sheshot arbe alamim, the which very much governs the nations. Ha'ika al libam, the so this sounds like what they say. I've never seen this inside, but they say in Mein Kampf. So the Hitler faults the Jews for having given the world a conscience, and he's against the conscience and against bris milah. These are the two marks which the Jews have left on civilization. So it seems that I think I translated this wrong. Sick. In other words, the ethical conquest based on a sick civilization, which conquered many nations. Ikalibam oppresses them. They don't know what to do with it. Ethics are a hard thing for people who are not deeply religious to deal with. Even people who are deeply religious have great problems with it, but certainly they're not deeply religious. And many bad midos, cholohim kitzvonos, diseases and angers. Nitzbru ma'amapenish moseim. Matzber is a battery, so they were charged in the depths of their neshama. And they come out of their lairs, their plots, their dens. By the great wars, which are large and cruel. And also which is more appropriate for their as of yet unrefined nature. So it's a fascinating statement, Rev Kook, and I like it. People have a veneer of morality, which is imposed by the culture. Let's call it the Judeo-Christian culture for our purposes. And but it's something which is superficial and doesn't penetrate and doesn't change them underneath. So it's like a seething cauldron which has a lid on top. So from time to time, it's going to the lid is going to be burst off and going to just bubble off in terrible ways, and it could be in the name of religion, religious war. And it'll just be worse than a war, which is not waged in the name of religion. In fact, it's in other words, basically having religion is not necessarily going to impede you. So therefore, I'm saying that this is something, if they have a barbaric nature, putting a band-aid of religion on top of it or a band-aid of a diseased culture is not going to change it. And it's still going to come and overwhelm its banks from time to time and explode out. And the only way that can express itself, obviously, is in war, which we prefer would not be the case. But as the irony is, he's saying, which with ironic point is that had they not had been the seething cauldron underneath the surface of the veneer of morality and ethics, it wouldn't be so bad. But there's like a volcano. When it does erupt, it erupts with much greater velocity and force than something which is just, dripping out from time over time. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic.
All right. So how do you like it so far?
It's beautiful. It's just amazing language and concepts. The long range views. It's very poetic and sort of almost prophetic in nature. It's sort of, it's like a Ruach HaKodesh type thing.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to learn. Okay.
Yes, it is.
I think
very good pleasure.
Perhaps we're at a point in life where we actually can understand what he's saying, which is good.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. All right. Have a good Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos.